Sequim, and Forks. County Assessor Pam Rushton.
Cyclomedia is a street view software kind of on steroids. What they do is they have these cameras and they drive down the streets and take pictures of everything every 16 feet. It's a software. It's kind of the third leg to what we've been doing in the past as far as getting software to help us do street views, aerial views, and the new mapping system within our software that we're looking to use to do desktop reviews and not so much in field.
If it receives final approval from county commissioners, a test run of the service will be conducted. Rushton says if the test proves successful, future uses of the new technology could be funded from a technology fund that is shared by the assessor and treasurer's offices, as well as savings that could come from not filling some staff positions later.
I honestly believe in the future, being in the field is going to be more obsolete, only maybe for new construction. It's more dangerous in the field than it's ever been. We don't carry guns. We don't carry sprays. We are getting threatened just like everybody else does. So being out of the field is a safety issue for our appraisers also. And I won't really know, depending on the workloads, if we all of a sudden get hit with a lot of building permits, we're just adding new properties to the workload. So I haven't been asking for new people to cover that additional workload.
County officials still determining just how to fund that initial contract. Commissioners are expected to make that decision soon, though, as Cyclomedia has indicated it's best to conduct these surveys while the weather is still favorable. More news after this.
Losing a loved one is overwhelming. Your mind and your heart shut down. That's where Drennan & Ford Funeral Home and Crematory comes in. They took the burden off my family's shoulders and guided us through everything we needed to do. No pushy sales tactics or unanswered questions. They just held our hands and took care of everything we asked. That's why I will always recommend Drennan & Ford for end-of-life decisions. They handle the hurt like no one else can. Call 360-457-1210.
Hi everyone, it's Leslie Robertson from the Port Angeles Chamber, and I want to tell you about a great opportunity to support our local area. Would you like to meet people from all over the world? Do you like the chance to brag about this beautiful place we live? The Port Angeles Visitor Center is looking for volunteers to help people seeking advice, information, and recommendations when they come to visit our delightful town. Visitor Center shifts are short, the schedule is easy, and very flexible. Whether you want a regular day or you'd like to fill in as needed, we will make it work for you. Knowledge about the area is a plus, but don't worry, we'll train you. It's a great chance to meet new people, make new friends, and get to know the great group of volunteers we already have working at the Visitor Center. You'll be glad you did. If you're interested, email info@portangeles.org or call the Visitor Center at 360-452-2363. Or you can find more information on our website, portangeles.org.
In other news, an Everett man sentenced in Clallam County Superior Court this week to 13 years in prison after pleading guilty to drug trafficking. The case began in the early morning hours of January 7th when a Clallam County deputy came upon a running car parked on the wrong side of the road near Sequim Bay Lodge on Highway 101 east of Sequim. The deputy saw the driver and passenger were both asleep in the car, and a handgun could be seen on the driver's floorboard. He knocked on the driver's window, and that's when Daniel Hahn, seated in the driver's seat, woke up. The deputy asked about the gun and told it was a fake. After calling for backup from the sheriff's office and Sequim Police Department, they eventually seized the gun, which was real, along with sizable quantities of methamphetamine, cocaine, and heroin from Hahn's car. At the time, Hahn had an active warrant for his arrest and 8 previous felony convictions, including burglary, theft, attempting to elude police, and unlawful possession of a firearm. A deputy prosecuting attorney, Steve Johnson, who handled the case, said of Hahn that he had no known ties to Clallam County, but came here armed and with several narcotics he was planning to sell here. Travelers who use the Hood Canal Bridge may want to prepare for a couple of upcoming overnight closures. The bridge will be closed 10 p.m. this Thursday and Friday nights and reopen at 5 a.m. each morning the next day. During the time, construction crews will be working on the shock absorbers on the Hood Canal floating bridge. The Washington Lands Commissioner primary is down to just 51 votes out of 1.9 million, making it one of the state's closest races in decades. Now, this is for the second place and the chance to advance to the general election. Metro King County Council member Dave Upthegrove narrowly leads GOP-endorsed Sue Cool-Peterson by 1/1000th of a percentage point. A hand recount will probably determine who advances to the November election. Former Republican U.S. Representative Jamie Herrera Butler secured first place in the primary, getting 22% of the overall vote. Washington will be the first state to set a limit on a chemical used to help tires last longer, but proves deadly to salmon. Last week, the State Department of Ecology established new limits for over 40 toxic chemicals, including 6-PPD. When 6-PPD reacts with ozone in the air, it becomes 6-PPD quinone. When it rains, the chemical often then trickles off roads and into waterways. In 2021, researchers found coho salmon die after only a few hours of exposure to that chemical. The new standards will take effect in Washington September 14th, but the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency still has to approve them. This is Newsradio KONP.
Do you have livestock needing moving? Stories Trailer Sales has trailers, and more trailers. Check out their full lineup of equipment and livestock trailers ready for immediate delivery. ATV, vehicle, and dump trailers too. Whether you need a trailer now or custom made, Stories will deliver direct to you. Visit online, storiesservicestation.com. Go to storiesservicestation.com.
It's time for an upgrade with Renewal by Andersen. As a full-service solution, we take care of everything from consultation to installation, ensuring a hassle-free experience. Our custom-built windows and doors are designed to withstand the toughest weather conditions, keeping your home comfortable year-round. Say hello to peace of mind. Visit us at callrenewal.com for your free consultation today. That's callrenewal.com. Renewal by Andersen, the better way to a better window.
In 1983, Tom and Ida McEwen opened All Weather Heating and Cooling. Their vision for a family-owned and operated business with personalized customer service made them the #1 choice for all your heating and cooling needs. By 2014, it was time to pass down the business, and daughter Janae and her business partner Dustin Halverson purchased All Weather. In preserving Tom and Ida's vision, customer service is still their #1 priority. All Weather Heating and Cooling, because everyone calls us.
Here's your Newsradio KONP forecast, brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. Storms likely this afternoon, otherwise cloudy skies expected. High temperatures reach up to 64. Northwest winds around 5 miles per hour. Cloudy tonight, thunderstorms likely, lows around 52. Chance of rain showers tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 64. Cloudy skies expected. Chance of rain showers Friday and Saturday with highs in the low 60s. Taking a look at the extended forecast, 63 Sunday, 64 Monday, and 64 on Tuesday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 64 degrees.
I'm Alex Obario. The Dallas Cowboys 18 days away from their first game of the season. Still don't have CeeDee Lamb in training camp. Lamb with an all-pro season last year with a league-leading 135 catches, 1,700 yards, and 12 touchdowns. Still a contract holdout. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones was asked on Tuesday if there was any update on a new deal for Lamb.
We're in good shape there, and we are having promising talks. Again, as in anything, it takes both of you there at the same time. But I believe it's got the proper amount of everything, emphasis, importance for everybody involved here, and we'll see how it goes. But none of us, player or teams, want it to hurt the preparation or the likelihood of playing at your best opening day.
Lamb is seeking a deal that will make him the highest paid wide receiver in the National Football League. He's entering the fifth-year option of his rookie contract, set to pay him just under $18 million. On the diamond on Tuesday, things tightening up atop of the American League. The Yankees, Orioles, and Guardians all within a half game of each other for the top spot. In the AL, Guardians and Yankees worked a 3-3 stalemate into the 12th inning when the Guardians exploded for 6 runs. They beat the Yankees 9-5, third loss in a row for New York. Yankees skipper Aaron Boone on the skid.
It's just been a few days now, a few games for us where, struggled a little bit offensively. Aaron got us off to a really good start in the first inning, but, we got to cash in those opportunities right now, and that's kind of over the weekend and into this game. That's where we've struggled a little bit, and we got to pick it up.
Orioles beat the Mets on Tuesday 9-5, so now the Orioles lead the American League East by a half half game over New York and occupy that top spot in the AL. Things are tied atop the National League West as well. Dodgers get a pinch hit 3-run homer from Jason Hayward. They beat the Mariners 6-3 on Tuesday. Padres with the best record in baseball since the All-Star break at 22-6, keeping pace at 3 back of LA. They beat the Twins 7-5. Jurickson Profar with the go-ahead home run in the 8th. Arizona Diamondbacks continue to roll as well. They beat the Marlins 2-1. Diamondbacks with the second best record in baseball since the break.
Nothing makes being outdoors better than having the right gear and the right crew. So here's an idea. Let Mountain Dew supply the gear and you bring the friends. Because when you buy specially marked multi-packs of Mountain Dew, you can collect points and earn epic limited edition outdoor gear. We're talking everything from custom Mountain Dew camp chairs and backpack coolers to exclusive Mountain Dew tents, fishing boats, and more. So buy Dew, collect points, get gear, and get outside with Mountain Dew outdoor gear.
Open to legal U.S. residents 18+. Subject to program terms at dewoutdoors.com. Ends 12/31/24. Void or prohibited.
Hi, this is Brandon Johnson, General Manager of Price Ford in Port Angeles. The weather is great and so are the deals here at Price Ford.
What kind of great deals do we have, Brandon?
After rebates, up to $10,000 off MSRP and rates as low as 0% for 72 months.
Those are great deals. Our selection hasn't been this good in a couple of years.
Speaking of great selection, our pre-owned inventory is fantastic. We have taken in some amazing trades, many of them low mile, one owner.
So if you're in the market, now's the time to buy. Visit us at priceford.com.
Mariners taking on the Dodgers. See if they can salvage one game out of that 3-game set. 6 o'clock airtime here on KONP this evening. It is coming up on 20 minutes after 12 now. Let's get a look at Wall Street next.
Newsradio KONP Business.
This is the Bloomberg Money Minute. Applications for new mortgage loans took a tumble last week, down 10%. They're now the lowest since February, even with rates down to one-year lows of 6.5%. Record high home prices have made home ownership unaffordable for a lot of would-be buyers. A shocker today from the Labor Department. It now says that over 800,000 jobs it reported were added to the economy this past year simply don't exist. Final figures on the number of jobs added will be out in 2025. Still, ahead of a 2-day Federal Reserve Symposium in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, with a speech from Fed Chair Jerome Powell on Friday talking about interest rates, stocks today are a little higher. The Dow up about 0.1%, the NASDAQ up more than 0.5%, the S&P up 0.5%. And Beyonce teaming up with the liquor giant Moet Hennessy on a new whiskey called Sir Davis, named for her moonshine-making great-grandfather, Davis Hogue. $89 a bottle. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
We check the roads next, brought to you by Angela's Furniture and by McCrory Carpet One.
Feeling a little restless at night? Tossing and turning? It might be time to upgrade your mattress, and I know the perfect place. Angela's Furniture's Labor Day special on Beauty Rest is where you'll keep more money in your pocket for an investment in your body. Get the sleep you deserve tonight on a new Beauty Rest Harmony Luxe with up to $1,000 off. Or step up to a Beauty Rest Black with up to $1,200 off. Get in on big savings at the Labor Day sale at Angela's Furniture through September 4th.
At McCrory Carpet One, they sell more than just carpet. If you walk on it, they carry it. Hardwood, laminate, vinyl, tile, stone, and more. Plus, experience their award-winning installation service on everything they sell. Because McCrory's sells more flooring than anyone else on the peninsula, and Carpet One stores sell more flooring nationally than anyone, they can say always priced right and always done right. McCrory Carpet One, serving the community since 1958.
Newsradio KONP, traffic and roads.
Up to Clallam Transit Dispatch Center now. That's where Steve's standing by with an eye on things on the roads for us this noon hour. Good afternoon, Steve.
Hi there. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, busy. If you're out and about, a lot of traffic right now going through the Port Angeles Sequim area. You're going to find some slowdowns out there at the stoplights. Downtown Port Angeles, where they've been doing some road work, some pouring concrete, and other things going on down there. So just be careful as you make your way through there. If you're on the highway between the two cities right now, not much of a problem out that way. Traffic is moving along pretty much at the speed limit all the way. If you're beyond that, Hood Canal Bridge right now has a scheduled opening about 1:45, I believe. State ferries are running a little bit on the late side today, so you might want to check their website if you plan on going across the water. If you're headed out to the west end, a lot of stuff going on out that way right now. They are doing some tree trimming out there that's causing some slowdowns. They're also moving girders into place at Wisen Creek across the highway there back and forth, and that is causing some delays up to about 20 minutes. I think they have most of everything in place, but just be careful or plan ahead if you're headed out in that direction. Other than that, we're having a pretty good day. Everybody take care. Be safe out there. This is Steve reporting live from Clallam Transit for KONP.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Losing weight is tough. Keeping it off, even more difficult. And as the saying goes, abs are made in the kitchen, not the gym. In other words, while exercise is really important for your overall health, if you are looking to lose weight and keep it off, you should pay more attention to your diet than exercise. And it's not just what you stop eating that matters. The things that you start eating matter as well. According to a new study out of Harvard School of Public Health, people who cut carbs but then ate more meat did see that weight come back, whereas people who replaced the carbs with more plant-based foods, they did not. If you want to try this, the study's authors say it's always wise to start with a diet that emphasizes fresh fruits and non-starchy vegetables. Also, think about whole grains, nuts, and legumes. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
What's better than one win? 3 wins. With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get one line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit straighttalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Straight Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. Offer ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
Hello, I'm Jerry Stewart, and this is One Moment in America. We all know that in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. But why did he do it? I'll tell you that story after this important message. If you've been hearing my radio programs now for the last 20 years, you know that I've been telling the true stories of those who have followed God's ways to make America the greatest nation in the world. So what's the latest? Well, we're now doing this nation-saving work full-time, and we need your help by becoming one of our ambassadors, subscribing to All We Have for just $5.95 per month. To get what? Number one, full access to our amazing website that is full of over 100 true stories to teach us with these stories how America is to act and operate. We also have lessons for all ages to teach us what we must do now. And our children, they will be our nation's leaders very soon. I will have live presentations online for you to hear, maybe even to participate. And when must this all get started? Now. Call our offices today at 817-995-6965 or go to our website at www.jerrystewartusa.com and email our office. God bless you. In 1492, Christopher Columbus embarked on a dangerous and amazing journey to find uncharted lands. And of course, he has been given the distinction as the man who discovered America. But why did he do it? Why did he sail? You say adventure, fame, riches, glory. Perhaps partly. But listen to what Christopher Columbus himself said. He said, "No one should fear to undertake any task in the name of our Savior, if it is just and if the intention is purely for his service." What was Christopher Columbus's true motivation? To spread the gospel. That's one for your history teacher. I'm Jerry Stewart, and that was One Moment in America.
For the Washington State News Network, I'm Rob Francis.
Going against recent trends, the U.S. Department of Justice will not challenge the proposed $1 billion merger of Alaska and Hawaiian Airlines. More details from John McKay.
Unlike most mergers, both Alaska and Hawaiian Air will keep their brands but just combine forces. Officials say there will be some route adjustments due to overlapping. The biggest change will be adding Hawaii's 50-plus aircraft to the fleet. It still requires approval by the Department of Transportation, but that hurdle is considered relatively minor.
The DOJ previously blocked efforts by JetBlue to buy Spirit Airlines and JetBlue's effort to create a partnership with American Airlines. There's now state-level assistance for local fire departments battling the Stamen Flats fire near Chelan. Chelan Fire and Rescue is leading the effort to contain the fire, which has burned about 1,000 acres south and west of Chelan. Chelan County Emergency Management said aircraft from the Pioneer Fire on Lake Chelan have been instrumental in keeping the fire from spreading further. There are still some Level 3 evacuations in place after most of the area was reduced to Level 2 last night. And a major threat looming over Washington's coast is European green crabs. One of the world's most invasive species continues to spread. The crabs, known for their destructive feeding habits, could devastate local ecosystems and industries. In Washington, it's illegal to possess a green crab without a special permit. For more on these stories and others, download the WSNN mobile app. You can also visit our website, WashingtonStateNews.net.
If you're a contractor, it's now easier for you to do business with the Department of Labor and Industries. Go to lni.wa.gov/skip the line and make an appointment with us ahead of time. No waiting around, no wasted time away from your job site. You get in, get out, and get on your way. Easy. So contractors, just go to lni.wa.gov/skip the line to make an appointment and get back to doing what you do best.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jason Walker. GOP vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance says former President Donald Trump offers a lot of hope to all Americans.
Hope that we can reignite this economy and bring back prosperity to American citizens. Hope that we can raise our kids in secure neighborhoods and safe streets. Hope that we can renew the patriotism that binds us as a country together, one nation under God.
And he adds Kamala Harris has embraced illegal immigration.
Remember that as border czar, Kamala Harris has allowed a literal invasion of this country, more than 10 million illegal aliens, and she's refused to deport the people who are already here.
Vance and Trump both appearing today at a huge rally in Asheboro, North Carolina. Also at townhall.com, the Israeli army has targeted an airstrike in Lebanon against a major commander in the armed wing of the Palestinian Fatah movement.
The attack on the outskirts of the port city of Sidon is the first reported strike on a Fatah member since the start of the Gaza war. The Israeli military said the official killed Khalil Makdah and his brother operated with Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps and were involved in directing attacks and smuggling weapons into the West Bank. Also this morning, Hezbollah attacked Israeli military positions with rockets and drones after its weapons storage facilities in Lebanon's Bekaa Valley were hit overnight. Concerns are rising that the hostilities between Israel and Hezbollah, which is backed by Iran, could become an all-out war.
Russian authorities say Moscow coming under one of the largest attacks by Ukrainian forces and drones since the start of fighting in 2022. Moscow claims it destroyed all 45 of those drones overnight. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Americans now have more credit card debt than at any time in history, owing a staggering $1.3 trillion collectively. What happens when most people can't pay their bills? Well, the U.S. economy is clearly moving into uncertain territory. That's why more Christians are turning to gold just for their peace of mind. I'm Lance Wallnow, Christian news analyst with a 30-year track record of predicting trends. The Bible tells us that gold is a time-tested store of value that can protect your God-given assets through almost anything, including America's historic debt bubble. And here's the good news. You can own gold through your 401k or IRA. My friends at Birch Gold Group can help you buy gold for your retirement account, tax-free and penalty-free. To learn more, text the word FAITH to 989898 for an info kit from Birch Gold that's entirely free, zero cost or obligation. Text that next step right now and take it. Text FAITH to the number 989898 for your free info kit. That's FAITH to 989898.
Well, the problems continue to grow for Boeing. This time, tech issues in the cockpit of one plane. Correspondent Ed Donahue takes an additional look now at some of the safety issues at Boeing.
The Federal Aviation Administration is requiring inspections of cockpit seats on Boeing 787 Dreamliners. One of the jets went into a dive when the captain's seat lurched forward without warning, disconnecting the plane's autopilot system. News reports say several dozen passengers were injured. The FAA says it received 4 other reports of moving cockpit seats. Both pilot seats will be inspected for missing or cracked caps that cover a switch used to move the seats. Boeing also stopped test flights on a new version of its 777 after discovering a damaged structural part between the engine and the rest of the plane. The new model has not been approved by regulators. Ed Donahue, Washington.
Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. Fed Chair Jerome Powell will likely provide some hints about how the Fed sees the economy and what its next steps could very well be. That's coming up in a high-profile speech this Friday in Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Federal Reserve officials have said they're increasingly confident that they've nearly tamed inflation. Now it's the health of the job market that's starting to draw their concern. With inflation cooling toward its 2% target, the pace of hiring slowing, and the unemployment rate edging up, the Fed is poised to cut its benchmark interest rate next month from its 23-year high. How fast it may cut rates after that, though, will be determined mainly by whether employers keep hiring.
That is correspondent Jeremy House reporting. On Wall Street at this hour, the Dow is up 41 points. S&P 500 is ahead nearly 20. More on these stories at townhall.com.
This is the Newsradio KONP Noon Report.
Todd Ortloff from the KONP News Center. Here's a look at what's happening on this Wednesday, August 21st. A new 2.5-acre wildfire sparked by last weekend's lightning storm has been found on Maiden Peak in Olympic National Park. The fire, now known as the Maiden Fire, has primarily burned in the forest canopy on the northwest side of the peak, with some ground smoldering. Interagency fire crews report that no structures or trails are threatened and no new evacuations or closures are in place. Recent rainfall, with more expected, could help put that fire out. They plan to have an update again maybe later this afternoon. The August 18th lightning storm ignited several fires in both Olympic National Park and Olympic National Forest. Due to ongoing drought conditions, a campfire ban is still in effect across the Olympic Peninsula. Fire crews will continue monitoring the area, and residents are urged to follow fire restrictions and report any sites of new fires by calling 911. Meantime, crews continue battling the 2620 road fire near Mount Jupiter near Brennan. It has burned 398 acres since it started August 14th. It is still just 8% contained. About 415 firefighters and resources, including engines, helicopters, and water tenders, are focusing on line construction and mopping up some areas of it. Erratic winds continue to challenge crews, but cooler temperatures this week are helping there. Meantime, a new wildfire, the Stamen Flats fire, has ignited near Chelan, prompting Level 2 Be Prepared evacuation orders. That fire burning about 30 acres in the hills southwest of Chelan. An evacuation center has been set up near that town. Meanwhile, the bigger Pioneer Fire on the opposite end of Lake Chelan has now burned almost 40,000 acres near Stehekin. It's 23% contained as of yesterday. The Olympic Peninsula Humane Society announced it will resume providing emergency boarding for local law enforcement. It comes on the heels of the July 10th announcement that OPHS would be closing the doors of its Barkhouse dog shelter for financial reasons after the last of 10 remaining dogs in their care had been placed. On August 6th, OPHS board president Marty Oldham said they had canceled their contracts with the cities of Sequim and Port Angeles and with Clallam County and would no longer be accepting impounded dogs moving forward. But according to Sunday's letter to patrons, OPHS is once again accepting dogs from law enforcement to ensure that dangerous dogs are safely kenneled. The letter said they will be taking dogs for temporary placement from law enforcement only and will not be able to offer care to other dogs surrendered or abandoned at OPHS. The letter ends with this statement: "Our goal is to continue operation of the Bark House in the future so we can assist all dogs and cats in need of care in our community. We're diligently working toward that objective and appreciate your support and commitment to the animals." Oldham went on to say that is why we do the work we do and want to keep OPHS around for years to come. Clallam County may turn to a new drive-by service to help with property assessments in some parts of the county. The assessor's office proposing to hire a company called Cyclomedia to conduct street-level imagery and LiDAR surveys of properties. The company uses vehicles similar to Google mapping cars to drive around areas and capture imagery of properties. That data collected would then be used by the assessor's office in annual property assessments. The technology would be deployed in the cities of Port Angeles, Sequim, and Forks. County Assessor Pam Rushton.
Cyclomedia is a street view software kind of on steroids. What they do is they have these cameras and they drive down the streets and take pictures of everything every 16 feet. It's a software. It's kind of the third leg to what we've been doing in the past as far as getting software to help us do street views, aerial views, and the new mapping system within our software that we're looking to use to do desktop reviews and not so much in field.
If it receives final approval from county commissioners, a test run of the service will be conducted. Rushton says if the test proves successful, future uses of the new technology could be funded from a technology fund that is shared by the assessor and treasurer's offices, as well as savings that could come from not filling some staff positions later.
I honestly believe in the future, being in the field is going to be more obsolete, only maybe for new construction. You know, it's more dangerous in the field than it's ever been. You know, we don't carry guns, we don't carry sprays. You know, we are getting threatened just like everybody else does. So being out of the field is a safety issue for our appraisers also. And I won't really know, depending on the workloads, if we all of a sudden get hit with a lot of building permits, we're just adding new properties to the workload. So I haven't been asking for new people to cover that additional workload.
County officials still determining just how to fund that initial contract. Commissioners are expected to make that decision soon, though, as Cyclomedia has indicated it's best to conduct these surveys while the weather is still favorable. In other news, an Everett man sentenced in Clallam County Superior Court this week to 13 years in prison after pleading guilty to drug trafficking. The case began in the early morning hours of January 7th when a Clallam County deputy came upon a running car parked on the wrong side of the road near Sequim Bay Lodge on Highway 101 east of Sequim. The deputy saw the driver and passenger were both asleep in the car, and a handgun could be seen on the driver's floorboard. He knocked on the driver's window, and that's when Daniel Hahn, seated in the driver's seat, woke up. The deputy asked about the gun and told it was a fake. After calling for backup from the sheriff's office and Sequim Police Department, they eventually seized the gun, which was real, along with sizable quantities of methamphetamine, cocaine, and heroin from Hahn's car. At the time, Hahn had an active warrant for his arrest and 8 previous felony convictions, including burglary, theft, attempting to elude police, and unlawful possession of a firearm. A deputy prosecuting attorney, Steve Johnson, who handled the case, said of Hahn that he had no known ties to Clallam County, but came here armed and with several narcotics he was planning to sell here. Travelers who use the Hood Canal Bridge may want to prepare for a couple of upcoming overnight closures. The bridge will be closed 10 p.m. this Thursday and Friday nights and reopen at 5 a.m. each morning the next day. During the time, construction crews will be working on the shock absorbers on the Hood Canal floating bridge. The Washington Lands Commissioner primary is down to just 51 votes out of 1.9 million, making it one of the state's closest races in decades. Now, this is for the second place and the chance to advance to the general election. Metro King County Council member Dave Upthegrove narrowly leads GOP-endorsed Sue Cool-Peterson by 1/1000th of a percentage point. A hand recount will probably determine who advances to the November election. Former Republican U.S. Representative Jamie Herrera Butler secured first place in the primary, getting 22% of the overall vote. Washington will be the first state to set a limit on a chemical used to help tires last longer, but proves deadly to salmon. Last week, the State Department of Ecology established new limits for over 40 toxic chemicals, including 6-PPD. When 6-PPD reacts with ozone in the air, it becomes 6-PPD quinone. When it rains, the chemical often then trickles off roads and into waterways. In 2021, researchers found coho salmon die after only a few hours of exposure to that chemical. The new standards will take effect in Washington September 14th, but the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency still has to approve them. This is News Radio KONP.
It's time for your Port of PA Today.
Hello, I am Commissioner Steve Burke with the Port of Port Angeles. I am here with Dave Walter, CEO of CRTC, Composite Recycling Technology Center. A lot of people don't know what CRTC does here in Port Angeles.
The CRTC is celebrating our 9th year in Port Angeles. We use innovation to leverage the potential of undervalued materials and waste streams to create durable, environmentally conscious products. We now have 38 team members on staff, and we were just recently honored by Inc. magazine as one of the best small businesses to work at in the United States for 2024. We know there are many fine businesses in Clallam County, so we are honored to be considered among them, as it is a real testament to the great team members we have at the CRTC. Our business continues to grow as we expand into the manufacture of tiny homes, so we look forward to adding even more team members in the future and keeping Port Angeles at the forefront of innovative manufacturing.
This has been your Port of PA Today.
Welcome to Volunteer Spotlight, sponsored by Jim Hagwood of PA Realty. This is Alan Barnard, and this Volunteer Spotlight shines on the American Red Cross of Clallam County. Since 1917, the Clallam County Red Cross volunteers have responded with compassion to the immediate needs of families affected by house fires, flooding, winter storms, and other human critical needs. The Red Cross of Clallam County helps families on the road to recovery with shelter, food, clothing, and connections with local agencies. If you wish to join the local Red Cross disaster team, you can complete the volunteer application form on the Red Cross website, redcross.org/volunteer, and make a real difference in our community. It's said that service is the rent we pay for our space on Earth, and that's why we present this Volunteer Spotlight, sponsored by Jim Hagwood at Port Angeles Realty.
Enjoy all the colors of the season. Your enjoyment starts now with help from Airport Garden Center. Airport Garden Center opened for business in 1977 as a pet, plant, and feed store by Eldora and Floyd Matthews. The family-run operation continues as Betsy and Mark Matthews are loving storekeepers to this day. Their family is dedicated to providing your family quality service and products for a fun, rewarding, pet, and child-friendly shopping atmosphere. Looking for a special, unique gift? Airport Garden Center is proud to support locally sourced items such as Full Moon candles and Pacific Rain Shadow Farms handcrafted soap and Miss B apiary honey. Go to airportgarden.biz for current specials or just stop on by. They love helping you plan this next season by offering monthly special savings. Airport Garden Center, planting knowledge and growing gardeners since 1977.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. Cloudy skies expected this afternoon with thunderstorms likely. Daytime highs approaching 64. Northwesterly winds around 5 miles an hour. Cloudy skies expected again tonight. Thunderstorms likely. Lows dip down to about 52. Cloudy skies expected tomorrow. Chance of rain showers. Daytime highs approaching 64. Low 60s Friday and Saturday with scattered showers possible both days. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Derek Height. Currently 64.
With SRN Sports, I'm Jeremy House. Major League Baseball in the American League last night, the Cleveland Guardians are up for 6 runs in the 12th inning before holding off the New York Yankees.
Lane Thomas hit a tie-breaking RBI double to open the scoring in the 12th. The highlight of the frame came when David Fry tripled to clear the bases. The loss overshadowed another power showing for New York, with Aaron Judge launching his Major League leading 45th homer just before Juan Soto hit his 35th in the first.
That's correspondent Gethin Coolbaugh reporting. Other American League winners included Boston, the LA Angels, and Tampa Bay. In the National League, winners were Arizona, Colorado, Atlanta, and Milwaukee. And interleague winners included Toronto, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, the Chicago Cubs, San Francisco, San Diego, and the LA Dodgers. This is SRN Sports. In tennis, play in the year's last Grand Slam tournament is scheduled to begin at the U.S. Open on Monday. The draw to set the brackets for the singles field will be held on Thursday. The defending champions are Coco Gauff and Novak Djokovic. The total amount of player compensation, prize money, and travel expenses increases to a record $75 million in 2024. That's $10 million more than a year ago. The women's and men's singles champions each will earn $3.6 million. Elsewhere, top-ranked men's player Yannick Sinner tested positive twice for an anabolic steroid in March, but will not be suspended because the International Tennis Integrity Agency determined the banned performance enhancer entered his system unintentionally through a massage from his physiotherapist. This is SRN Sports.
Hello, this is Amanda Huff with Swim Valley and Harper Ridgeview Funeral Chapels. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about a new, exciting, and environmentally friendly development in the funeral industry. It's called natural organic reduction, or simply terramation. Perhaps you've heard of it. Terramation is a process in which the body, after death, is returned to the earth in a carbon-neutral, eco-friendly manner. The process takes place in a controlled environment, and all that remains is a natural, odorless, compost-like material. If you'd like more information about terramation and advanced planning, call us today at Harper Ridgeview in Port Angeles or Swim Valley Chapel and Swim, and one of our knowledgeable and caring funeral professionals will assist you in answering your questions. Harper Ridgeview and Swim Valley Funeral Chapels, because your loved ones deserve the best.
Newsradio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Just minutes to go ahead of Wall Street's closing bell, and stocks could end the day with some very modest gains after a big downward revision from the Labor Department on the number of jobs created over the past year, at least 800,000 fewer than reported. But with hopes growing for an interest rate cut next month, that's ahead of a press event from the head of the Fed on Friday. Stocks right now seeing very minor gains. The Dow is pretty much flat. The Nasdaq and the S&P each up about 0.25%. Shares of Target up nearly 12%. Sales rose in the spring. That's after 4 straight quarters of declines. Saw a lot more people in the stores, especially at the grocery aisle, spending more money after it lowered prices. Online sales rose too, up nearly 9%. Shares of Macy's, though, down nearly 12%. Sales fell again last quarter. It cut its full-year sales outlook, citing a discriminating consumer and a lot more discounting. And it's that time of year, pumpkin spice latte returning to Starbucks tomorrow. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
When every second counts, trust the trauma experts at Olympic Medical Center. Accidents happen anytime, day or night. That's why Olympic Medical Center provides 24/7 trauma care every day of the year. Our dedicated trauma team is here around the clock to handle your emergencies with expertise and compassion. Olympic Medical Center, your hometown partner in trauma care. Learn more at olympicmedical.org/trauma care.
Ed Leeds from Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales wants you to know about the incredible fair specials he has going on all month long.
We're doing fence posts, 15% off our pressure-treated wood posts, 10% off our USA-made T-posts, or 15% off when you buy a bundle of 200. We are also doing free sales tax on all remaining aluminum utility trailers and Gravely zero-turn mowers.
Shop Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales, Highway 101 in Sequim.
Newsradio KONP, traffic and roads.
Up to Clallam Transit Dispatch Center now. One last time, Steve's got an eye on the noontime roads and traffic for us. Good afternoon, Steve.
Hi there. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, just a busy afternoon out there. There's a lot of traffic. If you're going to be making your way through town, expect delays at the stoplights through the downtown Port Angeles area where they're continuing to do the work on our automated stoplights, our new stoplights down there. So just be prepared for that. Watch your speeds and be careful down there while they're doing their work. If you're on the highway between Port Angeles and Sequim, it is also busy out there. Moving along a little bit better, up to the speed limit all the way. Just a few slowdowns, especially around the Carlsberg area. If you're headed out beyond that, Hood Canal Bridge, they do have a scheduled opening about 1:45 today. Other than that, I think that's about it. And state ferries, they're running on time, more or less, right now, running a little bit slow. You might want to check the website if you're going to be heading in that direction and crossing the water. If you're headed out to the west end right now, 101, we're in good shape all the way out to the Forks area. Wisen Creek area, they're setting up girders for the new bridge on that new fish passage they're putting in there. That is causing delays as they're bringing them across the highway up to about 15 minutes or so. They should be getting close to being done, but just be prepared for that and be very careful in the area. Other than that, we're doing good. Everybody take care. Be safe. This is Steve reporting live from Clown Transit for KONP.
Hey, thanks, Steve. We'll get another update on the drive home. That'll come with Pepper's afternoon news here on KONP. We'll do it about 4:20. Mariners, boy, what can you say? They're just trying their best to play themselves right on out of the playoff picture. Losing again last night, letting the LA Dodgers come from behind. Mariners will wrap up their series with the Dodgers tonight. We'll take the air at 6 o'clock here on KONP.
Hey there, Don Riley with Olympic Hot Tub. It's our 47th birthday. We're celebrating and you get the gifts. Outstanding savings on hot spring spas, free Bluetooth music, plus a freshwater IQ salt system for healthy soaks. That's up to $5,700 in savings. How's that for a birthday to remember? Ends August 25th. More at OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Olympic Hot Tub.
Sometimes the more things change, the more things stay the same. Cars and trucks certainly have changed, but it's really good to know that A1 Auto Parts in Sequim has the same great service and expert advice as always. Whether it's advanced technology of the newest model or a classic with hard-to-find parts, the A1 team is your go-to for expert advice and tracking the right equipment. A1 Auto Parts and Marine across from Sunshine Cafe in downtown Sequim.
Disney just can't seem to learn its lesson. First, it went woke. And while it didn't go broke, the number of park visitors dropped. Now Disney management has made the Disney Plus app a dangerous place for young children. I'm Kim Commando for NetSuite. Attention business owners, get a one-of-a-kind flexible financing program at netsuite.com/Kim. Parents really want to trust Disney. Why it's abusing that trust is beyond imagination. No pun intended. So how could Disney even think that adding Hulu shows and movies to Disney Plus would be a good idea? What was once a safe world for family-friendly movies is now degraded with PG-13 and R-rated titles. It's not sexual material yet. But remember that Handmaid's Tale is a Hulu product. So is Deadpool, Logan, Aliens, which they're promoting big time, along with American Horror Story and Shogun. You might not think that using a streaming app is being online, but it is. If you don't monitor what the kids are watching, no one else will. Sign up for my free newsletter at getkim.com. Okay, quick math. The less your business spends on operations, on multiple systems, on delivering your product or service, the more money you keep. It's obvious. But with higher expenses on materials, employees, distribution, and borrowing, everything costs more. So to reduce costs and headaches, small businesses are graduating to NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system, bringing accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR into one platform. With NetSuite, you reduce IT costs because NetSuite lives in the cloud with no hardware required. Access from anywhere. You cut the cost of maintaining multiple systems because you've got one unified business management suite. And you're improving efficiency by bringing all your major business processes into one platform, slashing manual tasks and errors. So do the math. See how you'll profit with NetSuite. NetSuite has extended its one-of-a-kind flexible financing program for a few more weeks. Head to netsuite.com/Kim. That's netsuite.com/Kim. netsuite.com/Kim.
It could be an unexpected ripple effect from the pandemic. We'll talk more about alcohol consumption after this.
Give the star in your life the brightest gift in the world. Name a star after them.
This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can name a star for birthdays, weddings, or even memorials. Over 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities and individuals from around the world. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
We all experienced this pandemic and its effects together, especially the stress it brought into all of our lives. And one thing we've seen with that has been a trend of increased alcohol intake, particularly when it comes to women. Here are my prescriptions. When it comes to alcohol, it's not only about the number of times per week you drink, but the volume consumed over what period of time matters too. A person who binge drinks 7 servings of alcohol in one day is largely at the same risk as someone who drinks just 1 drink daily. Try a dry month and see how you feel. If you have any trouble at all, don't hesitate to speak to a mental health professional. With Your Body, I'm ABC's Dr. Jennifer Ashton.
It's summer, and at Brown's Outdoor, we're fully stocked up for all your summer outdoor adventures. Take advantage of up to 30% off summer apparel and 25% off all Chaco sandals. If a new sleeping bag is on your list, Brown's has a large selection on sale. Pick from the North Face, Marmot, or Big Agnes. And while you're in, check out our latest shoe clearance deals and peruse our newly stocked Sunseas collection. Hurry in for the best selection. Brown's Outdoor has been family owned and outfitting the Olympic Peninsula for forever.
The Ramsey Show.
If I thought with my 40 years plus in the financial world that your best shot at having a high quality life was a universal income, I would be for it. But I don't think it is. Your best quality of life is when your character is increased with discipline, grit, the ability to overcome obstacles, a belief that if I leave the cave, kill something, and drag it home, I get to keep it.
Catch The Ramsey Show from 2 to 4 Monday through Friday on your local information station, Newsradio KONP.
Online at myclallamcounty.com. News Radio KONP, Port Angeles, Squim, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Delegates gearing up for Day 3 of the Democratic National Convention. Democratic VP nominee Tim Walz conducted a walkthrough earlier ahead of his speech. Sources tell ABC News that RFK Jr. is planning to drop out of the presidential race by the end of the week and could endorse Donald Trump. Last night, former President Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama firing up the crowd and say Donald Trump's divisive rhetoric and personal attacks won't stand, and say Kamala Harris represents the future of the country.
I want to know who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs.
Former President Trump and running mate Ohio Senator J.D. Vance rallying supporters in North Carolina today. Trump says if elected, he'd reverse President Biden's policies.
If we don't win this election, we're in such trouble as a country. We're in trouble right now, but you have the right guy to straighten it out. I'll get it straightened out. I'll get it straightened out fast.
The outdoor rally marking the first since the assassination attempt in July, and Trump's podium is behind bulletproof glass. Here's ABC's Catherine Faulders.
This measure, obviously, is typically reserved for sitting presidents. The Secret Service made an exception, obviously, for former President Trump in the wake of that assassination attempt. It's part of their broader effort to boost security at these events. And frankly, they would not let Trump do a rally unless he had this measure in place.
Hopes fading to reach a deal on a ceasefire talks. Key mediators in Egypt expressing skepticism due to gaps between Israel and Hamas. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on his way back, and President Biden and Vice President Harris spoke to Israel's prime minister. Dive crews off the coast of Sicily locating 4 bodies after a super yacht sank Monday during a storm. 2 other people are still missing. Crews will resume that search tomorrow. You're listening to ABC News.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Senior congressional Democrat Bill Pascrell has died.
I want to know, who's going to tell him?
The second oldest member of the House of Representatives, 87-year-old Bill Pascrell, was first elected in 1996. He represented his native Paterson and northern New Jersey for 14 terms. In Washington, Pascrell served on the House Ways and Means Committee, where he called for the release of former President Trump's income tax returns. Brian Clark, ABC News.
In November, voters in Montana will decide whether to protect abortion rights in their state. Montana, now the 8th state in the country to put abortion rights on the ballot.
The ballot question circles around a Montana Supreme Court ruling from 1999 that says the constitutional right of privacy in Montana protects the right to an abortion. Republican lawmakers there passed a law last year saying the right to privacy does not protect abortion. Now voters will have the final say. In every state where an abortion ballot question was put in front of the voters, supporters of abortion rights won. Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
Canada could just be a few hours of a strike hitting both of its major freight railroads that carry over $700 million worth of goods each day. There is no deal between the railroads and the union representing engineers, conductors, and dispatchers. A strike could also impact trade in Canada as well as the U.S. I'm Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
End-of-life decisions are hard. Be it pre-planning or sudden loss, you need to have an advocate in your corner, which is why I wholeheartedly recommend Drennan and Ford Funeral Home and Crematory in Port Angeles, the only locally owned funeral home and crematory in Clallam County. Their expertise ensures a smooth process so you can focus on healing and being with your loved ones. Their help through the darkest time in my life will forever stay with me. Call 360-457-1210.
Did you know that you could rent all or part of Field Arts and Events Hall for your next meeting, conference, or celebration? Field Hall offers multiple flexible and beautiful event spaces suitable for groups from 20 to 500. Our experienced team of professionals will make hosting your dream event easy. Visit fieldhallevents.org/rentals to request your free quote today.
KONP News brought to you by RE/MAX Evergreen Real Estate Outstanding Agents. Outstanding results, 457-6600. A new 2.5-acre wildfire sparked by last weekend's lightning storms been found at Maiden Peak in Olympic National Park. The fire, now called Maiden Fire, primarily burning in forest canopy on the northwest side of the peak with some ground smoldering. Crews report no structures or trails are threatened, and they are hoping some incoming rain will help put that out fully. The Olympic Peninsula Humane Society announcing that it will resume providing emergency boarding for local law enforcement of dogs, coming on the heels of the closure of its Barkhouse dog shelter for financial reasons for the time being. OPHS says they have decided now to continue taking dogs in that are brought by law enforcement.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by Olympic Game Farm. Thunderstorms likely this afternoon, otherwise overcast skies. High temperatures reach up to 64. Northwesterly winds around 5 miles per hour. Thunderstorms likely tonight. Lows dip down to about 52. Cloudy skies expected. Cloudy skies expected tomorrow. Chance for showers, 64. Temperatures a bit below average Friday and Saturday with highs in the low 60s. Showers possible both days. A peek at the extended shows, 63 Sunday, 64 Monday, and 64 on Tuesday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, it's 65 degrees.
It's the Todd Ortloff Show on Newsradio KONP. Now, here's Todd.
All right, welcome once again to the program. We are going to spend the first part of the show today talking with Kate Dexter, Port Angeles' mayor. It's been a bit since we've had Kate in. Lots to talk about. Good to see you again. Thanks for coming,
It's good to be here.
by. Let's jump right into something that came about at last night's City Council meeting. It's yet another tweak, if you will, to the short-term lodging ordinance.
Yes.
This came up. Basically, maybe I'll just let you outline what has now been changed. For background, people should know that the window for applying for licenses under the new ordinance came and went, and now we're kind of in this period where apparently, from what I understand, there was still some wiggle room, if you will, in the number of licenses that were available. That may have directed a bit of what you took up this
That's
week,
correct.
right?
Correct. So we ended up with 165 applications for licenses with if people don't remember, the ordinance that we landed on in March was a cap of 200 with no restriction on location in the city. However, previous to that, the 2017 ordinance, which is what we were amending or changing drastically, had location restrictions. And so what we did last night was, because there was space available, there was a request from some of the owners who were previously compliant with multiple units. They came back and said, hey, we've got these businesses that we started when they were legal and we did it the right, we followed the law. And then you passed this ordinance. Part of our ordinance, in addition to the cap, included a limit on one license per person or marital unit or business, and one license per parcel. And so some of those folks who made choices to start businesses that were legal at the time felt penalized by the ordinance. And I think had we hit the cap, that just would have been the way it is. But because we had room, we said, well, let's go ahead and amend it passed by a majority, but it was not unanimous. But the ordinance the amendment that we made basically grandfathers those few people and their businesses in with the existing licenses that in that wiggle room space. So we didn't increase the cap. It's still under the cap. And it is also very clearly for these people only. So if at some point they sell the house, new people can't come in and say, well, but I bought all these 4 houses and now I should have 4 licenses. No, you get 1 license. So that piece will still come in.
So it's a true grandfathering. I mean, essentially it's kind of like, but once there's a change with the property, that goes away.
Correct. Yeah. Which was part of the reason why I supported it. And I do think a reasonable concern was raised that people come in and they start a business, and if we change the rules, sure, there are examples. Everyone can come up with sort of a hyperbolic example where you might still say, you can't do it. One from last night was, if a business had been polluting for a long time and the laws changed that you can't pollute, you don't say, well, you've already been doing it, so we're going to let you keep doing it. But there's harm in that. And in this particular case, some council members still felt like it didn't fit their goal, and so didn't support it. But anyway, 4 of us said we think it's a reasonable adjustment to allow them to continue doing business. And if at some point they decide to close their businesses, then it reverts to then that piece of the ordinance functionally is not relevant anymore.
And again, to point out, these are in properties that were legal to start with.
Based on the 2017
on the 2017 ordinance, right? So it isn't like somebody's getting something they didn't already have. I guess you could make the argument you were taking from them a little bit in the sense because
certainly
they were
felt that way
to
them.
Right.
Yes.
So one of the things we just talked before we went on the air, and I think you kind of addressed this last night, is that we're going to take this up, but your thought about this is that there has to come a time where you got to let this ordinance play for a while to find out just exactly if it works or not.
Exactly. And I think the other piece of course, is we need to give staff time to work through the process, make sure that all the pieces that they need to do are set up correctly. And every time we tweak it, if we change something at the top of the thing, then how many things underneath it does it impact? So this part won't necessarily be easy for staff to implement, and they did ask for some time. But I do think we need to stop and make sure that people have some predictability going forward. And so I certainly am not interested in bringing it up again. And certainly heard from some council members who said, I can't believe this is even on the agenda. Fair enough. We spent a lot of time on it. And so I think this was a reasonable, in my opinion, I voted for it, was a reasonable amendment, and would like to now just let the dust settle.
Was this a staff directed tweak or not?
No.
Or this came from a council member?
Came from council at a previous meeting, which is why, and at that meeting I said, we'll put it on for discussion. The part that was different, that's what I said at the meeting before last night, the July meeting. And then in the meantime, I said, it makes a lot more sense to just have an ordinance to discuss. So let's come up with a modification so that we have some language instead of having a theoretical discussion and then we get to talk about it again and again. Let's just have an ordinance. And part of it is you can't amend an ordinance by motion. You have to adopt a new ordinance. And so if we hadn't had an ordinance, we would have had to come back. And this way we all had something to look at. People could give feedback. We, could make some tweaks and adopt it, and now not talk about it again in any time.
And that's my next question for you. You somewhat answered what I was going to say, is that you, as one elected member of the city council, I know are ready to just get on to some other business at some point.
Yes. I would like to not talk about short-term rentals again, at least at the council level. Happy to talk to people about them outside of that, but I would like to not have it on the agenda. So what I said last night is I'm not going to put it on the agenda. Obviously, council could bring something as a late item, and if if we have consensus, then we generally would put it on. But I don't think that will happen at this point.
Are you surprised at all by the, I guess I would say, the lack of people that applied for a license? I think a lot of the discussion going back to earlier this year, people thought, oh, well, yeah, we'll hit that cap, no problem. It's going to be, we got a lottery, we got to set up, what do we do next? And it really didn't come to that.
No, I think if I had to guess, which is not a great way to operate, but I think there were a number of people who were operating more than one unit. We heard from some of them during the public hearings and public comment, were operating more than one unit in areas that were not compliant with the 2017 ordinance. And so I think those people had to decide, do we sell? Do we convert it to long-term rent? What do we do with it? But you have to choose now. If you were in a non-compliant zone, you had to choose which of your multiple units, if you had multiple, were you going to apply for a license. So I think we may have seen some of that if we took how many were operating before the ordinance, that one license per person per parcel piece, I think had an impact on how many applications we got.
I also would add, I think I've talked to some who said, I've decided I'm not going to do this. I just don't want to go through the process. I don't want to go through the cost of it as well. I mean, that's
there
that's
is
a
a
reality
cost associated. That's true.
Right.
There are some business costs.
It'll be very interesting to see, because it'll be next year when you'll see any sort of the impact of perhaps less lodging tax dollars that could or could not come because of that. I mean, there's a lot of things that are still really up in the air. You really won't have an idea until we get through a season.
It's true. We won't. And I think we'll need to, we said at the outset we weren't going to start enforcement. We were going to discourage enforcement until November, so that we didn't have this unpredictability right before the summer season. So we sort of, I'm sure it didn't feel like that to some people, but we sort of gave people this window to sort it out where they didn't have to decide at the beginning of the summer. We've heard from a few people already. We know that lodging tax is down. It is possible, and we'll know as we go. And I will say, just my experience in being out in town, people may be staying outside of town. That's very possible. But it has been packed
There's been
downtown.
a lot of folks around. I'll give you that.
So they're staying somewhere. It might not be in the city limits.
Yeah.
But I feel like I hope that this grandfathering makes people feel less concerned about starting businesses in town, that there's some recognition that those things are important, especially when it's, using the example of pollution, maybe. But, a lot of that, if there isn't any regulation, I think that's a different kind of conversation. But because we had a rule and whether it was enforced or not, some people said, I'm going to do what the rule says, then fine.
All right. Let's move on to what is kind of some tough news that's coming just as we get to the end of this month. In fact, this week, the McKinley mill is shutting down essentially, or going into a mothball situation, if you want to call it that, just a skeleton crew. But a lot of folks, and a lot of them, jobs that are associated down the line, trucking jobs, things like that are going to be, and it's going to be a big impact. 200 direct jobs basically at the mill, but many, many more than that here locally. Just kind of your thoughts as the mayor heading into this thing. This is a pretty big gut punch for Port Angeles.
It is. However, I would say that right now our focus is on the gut punch that it is to the families that are being impacted. We did hear from the union. We have not heard from corporate. I'll just, as a way to distinguish, that McKinley has agreed to call it a full closure. Which triggers some support clauses in the union contract. So I think the union is feeling better about the circumstances for their employees. It provides some extension of health coverage, those sorts of things. Of course, if it is a true closure, and I think we're sort of saying, the union has said this, but we haven't heard from corporate that they're definitely closing. So until we hear from corporate, we're going to take them at their word that maybe this is some part of how they're going to do it to make things more right for their employees. But there may still be some option to reopen. We don't know. We're not getting communication from them. So if it doesn't reopen, it is a significant impact on the city. But right now, our focus is how can we support people locally? And one of the main things that we can offer is some utility assistance programs that we have available. And I want to say the communication about those programs, we did a press release not too long ago, was really focused on this very large group of people who will find themselves unemployed. And we know that there are other people who have been impacted by businesses or will soon be impacted by closing businesses, Rite Aid, and some restaurants, that sorts of things. So those programs are available to anyone who finds themselves in a situation of maybe needing to decide, am I going to pay my mortgage or am I going to pay my utilities? And so I think I want to make sure that people know it's really available to anyone who is needing those things. And that's just that's like, how do we get through tomorrow? It's not, what do we do long term? And I think there's some really good collaboration happening within the community around how we can work with each other to support these people and help people find new jobs. I work up at the college, as most people know, and we've hosted at least one open house targeted toward mill folks, but anyone who is unemployed and looking for a change through worker retraining. I think a number of people took advantage of that, or at least started the process of thinking about taking advantage of the unemployment status or this downsizing out of their job to basically get a free education and maybe take it as an opportunity to try something new. So I think we'll see more of that as we go forward. And I think the chamber was going to do it, or I think they did, another job fair, an earlier job fair than normal. So I think there really is an effort from the community to support folks who are going through this transition. We definitely don't want people to lose their housing, and we know that there's nowhere to downsize to. So, my hope is that people can stay if this is where they really want to be, and we'll continue to work with them, with the union, with the mill to do what we can to make sure that we minimize to the extent possible the downside.
Does this become a good excuse, and I'll put that in quotes, for a larger discussion just about generally better economic development for the area? I mean, so that we, start getting this economy growing in a direction that these hits don't keep coming, or they don't,
Right.
or maybe they don't hurt as much if one comes.
I think so. And I think we have a lot of people who've been working in that direction. The EDC certainly has really stepped up in the last few years. Colleen's done a great job of really thinking bigger picture around economic development. So we're grateful for that. I think, the recompete announcement,
Right.
I was at the official announcement last week, and I thought it was really interesting to really see this as sort of the culmination of Derek Kilmer's career. He started when he was in high school. There were mill closures, and he had friends this is really his story, but I thought it was a really interesting trajectory that is timely, right? He saw his friends' families impacted by mill closures, and so he went into economic development, and then one of his focuses in Congress was how do we help communities, small rural communities, that may be very reliant on one type of industry. And so Recompete came out of that, and Port Angeles was fortunate enough to be or Clallam County and Jefferson. It's not Port Angeles at all.
It's a North Peninsula, calling it, yeah.
Let me back up a little. It's much bigger. Is fortunate to be one of 6 communities chosen.
And the only one on the West Coast, we should point out. And that was up against a number in California and some other places, too. So I think, it really does show that I think the grant application was pretty well done.
I think so. Yeah. And I'm sure you have had people in talking about it.
We have a bit, yeah.
But I just think it's an interesting thing to have that happen at the same time. We were on the hook with the mill in the background last week, waiting to find out if this was a temporary closure or permanent closure. And so I think what's good about the fact that we are at that point with Recompete is there are some projects in place that may help with some of those lost jobs. I think they were meant to be added jobs, but here we are. But I also think it means that we have a number of the right people at the table having conversations already, and those relationships have become more formal over the process of putting in this application, and I think that will benefit our community.
All right. Well, I thought I was going to tick through this whole list here, but I've got one more thing I want to make sure you get on because we're almost out of time. And that's a good news thing. I think the tower is revisible again, and there's a ribbon cutting tonight to get this tower, which turned into be a much larger project than maybe even we thought it would have been last November when the first structural issues came up with it. So let's just your thoughts about the City Pier Observation Tower finally being back open again.
Yes, I'm excited to have it not covered in a tent. Grateful that we got just a little bit of tourist season with it open. And yes, so tonight at 5:30, in advance of the concert on the pier, there is a ribbon cutting ceremony. One group that I think really needs to be highlighted in this, in addition to our Public Works and Parks departments, is the Lodging Tax Committee. The repairs were funded through lodging tax, and the Lodging Tax Committee had a long, thoughtful discussion about it and landed in the positive for funding the repair out of lodging tax. And so really grateful to them for saying yes so that we could get it repaired. It gets a little bit complicated because it's in the water, and so replacement is a totally different permitting issue than just a repair. And so short of the millions and millions of dollars in the lengthy time period that we have to replace it, a repair was, I think, a good choice, and grateful that it's back, that people can see it. It is, whether people like it or not, I think definitely is.
It's iconic.
It is.
In its own right.
It is.
I mean, it really is.
I think that the tower and the 3 things that come to my mind that really make me think of Port Angeles are the observation tower, the clock at the courthouse, and the coho. So I'm glad that they're all still here.
All 3 are back.
Yes, all three are back. The coho's still here, and the tower is now open. You can stand at the top of it and watch the coho go and wave to folks on it.
That's right. And you can see the clock from there,
That's
too.
right.
So anyway, I'm glad to see it back as well. Although it was kind of interesting having that white square thing out.
Yes.
It became, I'm sure, a lot of people conversation piece. Yeah. Going, what is that?
Yes.
Anyway, all right. The ribbon cutting's 5:30 tonight, right?
Correct.
5:30 if you want to partake in that. Kate, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming down. As always, love talking with you about things happening with the city of Port Angeles. That's Kate Dexter. She's the mayor. And we're going to take a break. And actually, to stay on a theme a little bit, we'll be talking about the Recompete grant through the Peninsula College Eyes with the president of the college, who's in next. We'll have Susie Ames joining us to talk about that and a few other things, too. So stick around. We'll be right back.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
Red Carpet Car Wash in Carlsberg is always adding to the list of things they provide to keep your vehicle looking brand new. The full detail shop is just one more service to check off that list. Not only will your interior and exterior shine, your engine will sparkle too. Red Carpet is also getting some winter upgrades, including new equipment in the manual bay and new vacuums. Call Kyle today and let him get you scheduled for your red carpet treatment Tuesday through Saturday. 360-461-0826.
It's time for your Port of PA Today.
Hello, I am Commissioner Steve Burke with the Port of Port Angeles. I am here with Dave Walter, CEO of CRTC, Composite Recycling Technology Center. A lot of people don't know what CRTC does here in Port Angeles.
The CRTC is celebrating our 9th year in Port Angeles. We use innovation to leverage the potential of undervalued materials and waste streams to create durable, environmentally conscious products. Because carbon fiber is as strong as steel at about a quarter of the weight, we use it to manufacture high-performance sporting goods like our SwiftNet portable pickleball net, which is the most popular high-performance portable pickleball net in the world. As you know, pickleball has really exploded in popularity, so it is super exciting to think that Port Angeles is now at the forefront of pickleball net technology and helps to keep many people in our area employed.
This has been your Port of PA Today.
Have you been searching and searching for anyone to install, repair, or replace your windows? What about looking for someone to install a new exterior door? And what about a skylight, or a new glass shower enclosure, or even a glass railing system? It can be hard, if not near impossible, to just get a call back. We at Hartnagel Building Supply sympathize with just how difficult it can be to get fast and dependable glass services. It's why we created our newest division, Hartnagel Glassworks. With over 80 years of combined experience, our team is ready and excited to help you on your next project. Whether it's big or small, residential or commercial, installation or repair, we can pretty much handle anything related to glass. Contact us today at 360-417-8388 or at hbsglassworks.com. Angelus Millwork and Hartnagel Building Supply, building homes, building community since 1906.
Jammin' in the Park is back on the Port Angeles waterfront August 31st. Presented by Nor'Wester Rotary and Koenig Subaru. Come for a fun and free day of live music, food, a kids zone, and other activities too. It happens at Pebble Beach Park in front of Field Hall and Event Center from 11 to 5, Saturday, August 31st.
Jammin' in the Park is made possible in part by Seven Cedars Casino, State Farm Insurance Matt Joik, D.A. Davidson, First Fed, and Angelus Collision.
I understand that as our world becomes more automated, receiving personalized service from a real person is more meaningful than ever. I'm Dan Shappy, and as a farmer's agent, I know a thing or two about how to help you select the insurance you want so you can
protect what matters most.
Call 360-681-0696 to learn more and chat with me, a real person and experienced farmer's agent, today.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Upgrade your home's curb appeal with Renewal by Anderson's Ensemble Entry Doors. These stunning high-quality entry doors are designed for beauty, security, and energy efficiency. Each door is custom built to fit your home. As a full-service company, they handle everything from consultation to installation, ensuring a seamless experience. Visit callrenewal.com for your free consultation today. That's callrenewal.com. Renewal by Anderson, the better way to a better window.
For the Washington State News Network, I'm Rob Francis. After finding a crack and a failure of a key engine mount part, Boeing has halted certification flights for its new 777X-9 airliner. John McKay has this report.
The company said a part called a thrust link did not perform as designed. It helps mount the engine to the wing and distributes thrust or force safely through the aircraft. 3 test planes didn't suffer any serious damage, but after returning from lengthy flights, 2 had cracks in the part, a third had a severed link.
Boeing says the parts are being replaced and data retrieval will help them pinpoint and fix the issue. In other Boeing news, NASA working through technical issues with the Starliner as it plans to bring astronauts back from the International Space Station. The Starliner, which has been plagued by malfunctions, poses risks, including suit incompatibility with SpaceX Crew Dragon, which could mean astronauts might return without proper suits. NASA is considering SpaceX's Crew 9 mission as an alternative. The troubled Starliner mission is a major setback for Boeing, which has invested billions in the spacecraft. Rescuers have located and transported the body of a hiker who died Monday while climbing near Del Campo Peak, about 10 miles west of Glacier Peak in the Mount Baker Snoqualmie National Forest. Around 9 a.m., the man's hiking partner said the 36-year-old lost his footing and fell 40 to 50 feet, landing on the rocks below. His partner performed life-saving techniques but was unable to revive him. For more on these stories and others, download the WSNN mobile app. You can also visit our website, WashingtonStateNews.net.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I taught for 20 years, until I started forgetting my lectures.
Eventually, he had to quit. Getting his early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard, but it gave us time to take control of the situation, together.
I can't imagine going through this without him.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by Olympic Game Farm. Thunderstorms likely this afternoon, otherwise overcast skies. High temperatures reach up to 64. Northwesterly winds around 5 miles per hour. Thunderstorms likely tonight. Lows dip down to about 52. Cloudy skies expected. Cloudy skies expected tomorrow. Chance for showers 64. Temperatures a bit below average Friday and Saturday with highs in the low 60s. Showers possible both days. A peek at the extended shows, 63 Sunday, 64 Monday, and 64 on Tuesday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, it's 65 degrees.
Welcome back to the show. We're going to switch gears a little bit now and, actually do some things related to what we just talked about in a long sense. In the next segment, we'll talk about the Recompete grant and how that is moving through Peninsula College. But we got lots of other things about Peninsula College to talk about as well. And we welcome the president of the college back in after a couple of months not having her by. Gave her a little summer break. Susie Ames joins us. Susie, it's great to have you back.
Great to be here, and thanks for the break.
Yeah, well, we all need a little bit. You've been working hard.
A little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit hard.
So we're going to spend the first bit talking about getting ready into this new school year. The fall's upon us, and a bit about some admissions as well. So first, I know you want to talk about admissions, so let's talk about priority admissions.
Yeah.
And we'll start there, and then we'll get into a few others.
So I think it's fair to say that our successes are reaping their benefits, and it's now time for us to actually put some controls and constraints around our massive enrollment growth. We really want to try to set students up for success. So starting in September, we'll be setting admissions deadlines a few weeks before the quarter starts. So we're going to do it September 1st, and then winter quarter will be December 1st, spring quarter will be March 1st, summer will be June 1st, which are all about 2 to 3 weeks before the following quarter starts. That gives students time to fill out the admissions application, meet with an advisor, figure out what classes are best for them, figure out start your financial aid. You really should start your financial aid earlier, but if you haven't started your financial aid, get your books, just get your kind of life in your mind in order. Like, okay, I'm starting school in a couple weeks. There's a lot of data to show that the students who show up at the very last minute don't succeed. And we know that data, and it's really unethical for us to bring you into this long, complicated process with just a couple of weeks before the quarter starts and think that you're going to have everything in place to be successful.
On the flip side of that, though, it's helpful for the institution, for the college, I would think, too. As you mentioned, I mean, you've had tremendous growth up there. You know, at some point, there's some capacity issues that happen with trying to help people along when you have one day, for example, right?
Yeah, and we are feeling those capacity pinches right now. If anyone wants to be a part-time math faculty member in Forks, we'd love to hire you. We're definitely scrambling to find as many part-time faculty members to fill those core classes because we don't want to turn anyone away who has gone through the process of admissions and advising and registration. So we think setting these deadlines is going to allow us to make sure that if we give a promise that you can start, that we can deliver on that as well.
The reality is, though, up to this point, I mean, that was a good way to approach it, is just make it wide open because we got a lot of room and we want to bring as many as we can in. No matter what it takes.
Yeah, and that's what we did, and that paid off, and the community's responding, and they're coming to us in droves, and we could not be more excited about the difference we know that college is going to make in their lives. So we want to do everything we can to help set them up for success.
You did allude to one thing there about, jokingly saying if you're a part-time math teacher in Forks, but that is a reality, isn't it? Because we can explain how you set up classes, because it is based on enrollment. I mean, and if you don't know a day before classes start how many math students you might have.
Yeah, so we set out our best guess for how many classes we think we're going to need and then what the staffing looks like. Nobody saw this enrollment spike that we're experiencing now at the drastic pace that we saw increase. So summer was a scramble and fall is turning out to be a wonderful scramble, a wonderful problem to have.
Yeah, and I think we should emphasize that. You're very happy with this problem. This is a good problem. It's just, something that needs to be solved, right? Like any problem.
Absolutely.
Tell us just, if you could, reiterate just how much growth you have seen over this past year.
Yeah, so I remember I was here, I think in June, and we were talking about how competitive I am.
Yes.
So the numbers are out, and my supposition was correct. We were first in the state in enrollment growth out of 34 community and technical colleges.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of that, I think, goes back to the things we talked about over this past year, new programs, new other things. And I think a lot is things like this. We have you on talking a lot about what's happening at Peninsula College. It's not a little secret up there on the hill as much as it used to be.
I think so. I think we're just we're getting the buzz out, and I think the new programs we started and the responsiveness that our team has put together, and we're trying to serve the whole student with all of your wraparound support services and your right advising and the right instructional programs for you. I think word is out that people are saying PC really can be a solution for me, whether I need to earn my high school diploma because I dropped out of high school, or now I'm ready to go get my bachelor's degree, or I'm ready to go learn how to be a welder or learn auto repair. I mean, I think people are seeing that there's so many opportunities no matter where you are in life.
Yeah, I tell people that all the time. You can go there and get a certificate in a year or less in some cases, and you could be on the job working a pretty good paying job. And I think that does gets people thinking again about, well, maybe that is for me.
I think it does. I mean, yes, we offer the 2-year transfer degree, and that's super valuable, and we offer all these other things, and just really getting that idea into people's minds that there are so many opportunities right there on the hill.
Speaking of admissions, just a little bit, back in June we talked about Running Start, and kind of there's a bit of a nuance I know that you're taking on with not being an all-comers type of a program. At one point it used to be somewhat like that. I mean, you had to be a certain kind of student, but you threw some caution out last time. Is that still, and is that playing into maybe a bit of the admission issues, or I'll put that in quotes? Do you have as many Running Start students,
in fact,
example?
we were also first in the state in Running Start percentage increase. And I feel good about that because every single one of those parents and students had got the message that Running Start is not for everybody. And it takes a very special student to succeed in Running Start. The student has to be very motivated and self-driven. They need a support structure at home to carve out that study time. They need to recognize that the faculty are not going to be writing them to turn in all their homework like happens in high school. And if a student is struggling, the repercussions are so much greater.
Yeah.
You run the risk of not only not doing well in college, but maybe
your high school
maybe
too,
not graduating
right?
from high school.
Right.
So we really have been working hard to convey that message to every single parent, guardian, and student before they sign up, to have really important conversations at your kitchen table to figure out if this is right. The other thing we're doing is putting more early alert systems in place. So if you do think that Running Start is for you and then you get into it and you realize it's not, we want to try to catch those students as early as possible and figure out if they do need to go back to their high school, because we want to be part of the solution just as much as our local high schools.
Yeah, it's a tremendous program, but you're right. It does take the right. I could not have done that if I was in there. I would have just not done well. But that's just me.
No comment.
Okay, so fall enrollment is up, as you alluded to. Then anyway, so what are you looking at?
Our summer numbers are in. We were up 73% from last summer.
Up 73%.
Up 73%.
And summer, traditionally is not a busy quarter as well. So that has to be a tremendous. I mean, you probably know it was noticeable.
Yes.
I mean,
the parking lot's full.
Yeah, which doesn't happen in the summer up there.
No. I mean, last summer, which would have been my second summer, we were up 2% from the summer before. And so I think this is all part of the accumulation. We were up 30% spring and now 73% summer. Fall numbers so far are almost 60%.
And that's
to this
year
day,
over year.
To this day last year, August 21st last year, we are now 59% above that day.
Wow.
So we're not done.
It could go up. I mean, you've
done.
got a couple of weeks here before you're going to even get into the heart of the matter.
We're not done. And we also, we can see down the pike a little bit. We can see who's applied for admission. We see who still has an advising appointment on the books for next week and the week after to then register for classes. So we know more is coming.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got room for all of this growth?
We're making room. We are making room. We are at, we're going to be about 2018 enrollment numbers by the time, but right now, I think by the end of fall, by the end of winter, we're going to be back up to like 2015, 2014 levels. Because if you remember, we had an 11-year enrollment decline.
Mm-hmm.
So while these numbers are amazing, we're still not full. We're not back to where we were, what was that, 2009? 2009 was also the Great Recession. So we have to keep that in mind. Like, I don't expect us to be at 2009 levels, but 2012 numbers would be pretty awesome.
But, going back to the, your competitiveness there when you talked about being number one in enrollment growth amongst all the other community colleges, I know the others are growing as well. You've said that, but there's something unique about up here as well, it sounds like.
I do think so. I mean, we were at the bottom.
Yeah.
So we had a
lot of room to grow.
We had a long way to go. And I think there is something unique about a college that can turn on a dime and get the word out and saturate the local community with, look at the cool stuff we're doing. Yeah. As I said before, nobody starts 9 new instructional programs in 1 year. No. And if I had to think of one thing we did to get people to start looking at us, that was probably the one thing. And we're now just continuing to reap the benefits. And those 9 programs are directly tied to local jobs in our community.
Yeah. One of the cool things that you have done the last number of years is coming up in just a couple of weeks on September 7th. It's the Fall Spectacular. This plays into the enrollment part as well. This is open up the college campus to the public, do a bunch of fun things up there, and let people see what you're doing up there a little bit.
Yeah, kind of take the veil back of what happens on a college campus since we're up on the hill. And it's really an amazing opportunity for families to come, kids to senior citizens of all ages, and experience a really fun day. We've got activities for the entire family, and it's free. And there are very few day-long things you can do with families of all ages free these days.
Yeah.
And there's we're giving away laptops every hour. There's a new feature this year will be a sand sculpture.
Yeah,
super
cool.
excited to see that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
We'll have live music from Sound Advice, Joy in Mudville, and Ted Hennessy. There'll be children's story time and a ventriloquist. The perennial bounce house and climbing wall. We also try to sneak in educational opportunities. I remember last year, one of our amazing fact members was giving a lecture on geology, and the classroom was full learning about rocks on the North Olympic Peninsula.
Why not?
And there were people from 6 years old to 80 years old in the room, just enamored with learning about geology in our region. And so just a really nice smattering of fun, pure entertainment and really cool educational experiences as
and
well.
it's all couched in a fun way, too. It's not dry. It's not intended to be, I'm going to take notes and have a test on this in the lecture.
You can play with our nursing simulators. You can learn how to weld. Yeah, it's really meant to be fun and entertaining and a little bit of education sprinkled in.
And it's a great event. September 7th, it goes 11 till 4 up at the campus here at Peninsula College in Port Angeles. Okay, we're going to take a break. Want to come back? We're going to jump into this Recompete grant thing because Peninsula College has a huge part of what's going to happen next with a lot of this in Clallam and Jefferson counties. So we'll chat with Susie Ames. She is the president at Peninsula College right after this.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on Newsradio KONP.
I understand that as our world becomes more automated, receiving personalized service from a real person is more meaningful than ever. I'm Dan Shappy, and as a farmer's agent, I know a thing or two about how to help you select the insurance you want so you can
protect what matters most.
Call 360-681-0696 to learn more and chat with me, a real person and experienced farmer's agent, today.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Red Carpet Car Wash in Carlsberg is always adding to the list of things they provide to keep your vehicle looking brand new. The full detail shop is just one more service to check off that list. Not only will your interior and exterior shine, your engine will sparkle too. Red Carpet is also getting some winter upgrades, including new equipment in the manual bay and new vacuums. Call Kyle today and let him get you scheduled for your red carpet treatment Tuesday through Saturday. 360-461-0826.
Hey there, Don Reiling with Olympic Hot Tub. It's our 47th birthday. We're celebrating and you get the gifts. Outstanding savings on endless pool swim spas with free Bluetooth music and Wi-Fi as your gifts. Save up to $9,000. How's that for a birthday to remember? Savings end August 25th. Find out more at OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Olympic Hot Tub.
The premium compact powerhouse is here. The new MT225S from LS Tractor. 25 horsepower, 2-pedal hydrostatic transmission, and a highly featured operator platform. Now available with dealer-installed cab. All backed by the legendary LS Tractor warranty. Demo the new MT225S at your local dealer today.
Find the perfect LS Tractor for you at Leitz Farm Supply in Squim. Locally owned and operated. Call Leitz at 360-452-1400.
LS Tractor, simply more.
Your community-minded friends at First Fed bring you the Community Corner, highlighting good things happening right here in our area.
Clallam County observes International Overdose Awareness Day on August 31st. We hope you participate as overdose prevention can impact all of us. The Overdose Awareness Day event runs 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., starting with a resource fair at the Port Angeles City Pier, continuing with a rally at the Clallam County Courthouse and a silent walk to the City Pier for a remembrance ceremony. Join the North Olympic Healthcare Network, Peninsula Behavioral Health, Clallam County Public Health, Clallam Counseling Services, Reflections Counseling Services Group, and the Jamestown Healing Center for Overdose Awareness Day, Saturday, August 31st, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Port Angeles City Pier. The event is free.
Community Corner, presented by First Fed.
Susie Ames, my guest. She is the president at Peninsula College, and we're going to spend the next few minutes talking about the Recompete grant everybody's heard about this thing has been awarded to Clallam and Jefferson counties. It's going to do a whole lot of things, and a lot of it will be driven through Peninsula College, really, quite frankly. So let's just talk a bit about kind of your role at the college in the grant now that it's coming, and where you see, PC landing and all of this. And we should point out, I mean, you cover it's your whole district, because Peninsula College is both Jefferson and Clallam counties.
Yep, absolutely. And the grant funder, the Economic Development Agency administration, they knew that workforce development needed to be at the center of any proposal that was going to be viable, because not only do you have to create the jobs, but then you have to train people for those jobs. So PC was really thrilled to be able to be at the center of those conversations from the beginning with our community partners.
Those who followed this realized that it was a daunting task of just applying. I mean, you got accepted for the first round, but that just gave you the opportunity to spend about 8-9 months putting a grant together, a proposal together that eventually got the award that was announced.
Yep.
Tell us a bit about that and kind of where you plugged in, what Peninsula College was doing, and even just preparing for the application.
Yeah, I'll say PC was at the table from the very beginning. I personally could not spend as much time, and it was multiple hours of weekly meetings. I have this amazing grants manager who filled in for me more times than not and just did a terrific job speaking on behalf of the college, coming up and helping to develop the package of ideas that PC was going to come up with. So thanks to her, we were able to continue to be at the center of those conversations. We also, I don't think it's out of turn to say that, there was struggle and consternation. Clallam County project, Jefferson County project, and I used to always say, hey, PC Switzerland. We serve Clallam and Jefferson, so you all figure that out, and we'll be here when we're ready to nail down the workforce needs.
So what is going to happen at Peninsula College now that this starts to roll? What do you see? What types of things will the public start seeing as it boots on the ground, as they say?
Yeah, so we'll have 1 year to plan, which is great because so much of this has moved so quickly, really, relatively speaking. We're going to get about $5 million. And we're going to experiment with mobile education. So we will be buying 2 semi-trucks and outfitting them with hands-on learning. So we think one of them is going to be welding, and we think one of them will be components that make up marine manufacturing. Okay. So electronics, small engine repair, the furnishings and finishing side of it. We might have like modules within the semi-truck where the idea to build a boat beginning to end, like we've talked about several times, that one's going to have to be put on hold for a bit, but we think there's still really viable skills that we can train. And the idea of having semi-trucks is we're going to go out into every corner of Clallam and Jefferson County to offer this education. So Brennan,
so literally drive it, park it, and teach.
And teach. And Brennan and Chimicum and Nia Bay and La Push, and really bring the education to the people who can't make it to us.
Which is one of the, I guess, A1 parts of the Recompete grant is trying to remove obstacles, barriers to people obtaining a good job, becoming a welder. One of their obstacles might be they live in a far outreach of the area. They can't get to where the classes are.
Right.
Readily.
And there's and Kate probably talked about it before I got on, but the wraparound support services are a really exciting, critical component to this. So we're not only going to provide these folks with the job training, but also the wraparound support services. So we'll bring the education and job training to you, but if transportation is one of your issues within that collection of wraparound support services, then you might get the supports that you need to actually then go and commute for a job. But asking someone to commute for school and a job is asking a lot because you're not getting the income to start paying for your transportation when you're going to school.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, this is just one little bit of what this is all about, right? I mean, there's going to be a whole lot more coming besides semis going around the
so Jefferson EDC has this really dynamic training for small business owners. They'll be spreading that across Clallam County as well. The Northwest School of Wood and Boat Building is going to completely redesign their systems engineering program. The Sequim School District's going to get transportation simulators. So they're going to be able to teach kids truck driving, backhoe, forklift driving. And Peninsula College is the fiscal agent for all of those agencies and organizations to get funding as well.
All right, so $5 million just coming through your organization, right, as part of this big old grant.
Yeah, $5 million coming to PC to do the semi-truck education.
Okay, so, and then you're going to help administer on these other parts that come through as well.
Yep.
Tremendous amount of opportunity just waiting to happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a game changer for our community. Yeah. And at the celebration that we had a couple weeks ago when Representative Kilmer was here, I had an opportunity to speak, and I talked about the concept of hope and what hope might mean for an individual or families or an entire community. And as you know, growing up here, this community has lost a lot of hope over the decades for good reason. And I don't want to be too Pollyanna-ish, but I think this recompete is really good reason for people to have hope for the future.
All right. Great note to end on. Thanks. Susie, it's always great to see you.
Likewise.
We're back into our regular schedule, so
yes,
we'll be
I'm
back
done
with you
vacation.
in another month or so. We'll get another update as to what's going on at Peninsula College. Always enjoyed talking with you. Thanks,
Great.
Susie.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break and check in with the news coming up next.
Picture this, the perfect summer barbecue. No stress, no responsibilities, just all your friends, burgers and hot dogs on the grill, and a delicious, refreshing Pepsi Zero Sugar in your hand. Sounds nice, doesn't it? Burgers sizzling, hot dogs cooking, Pepsi Zero Sugar fizzing, and a backyard of very, very happy people. Oh yeah, we could get used to this. Very, very used to this. Pepsi, the official beverage of Grills Night Out.
Harper Ridgeview and Squim Valley Funeral Chapel offer experience you can lean on and the compassion to ease your loss. Their job is to help families cope with loss of loved ones by removing the stress involved in planning funeral arrangements. All of the staff has a real heart for serving families and their needs in the most difficult of times. They truly realize the importance in what they're doing for the community. Squim Valley Funeral Chapel and Harper Ridgeview Funeral Chapel in Port Angeles, the caring support you'll need in your time of loss.
Get ready for the Esquimalt Rib Fest in Victoria, BC on September 6th, 7th, and 8th. 3 full days of Rib Fest with our Canadian friends across the water in Victoria. Enjoy award-winning ribs, brews, unique vendors, and live music. Vote on the best ribs from 6 different rivers. And if you fall into a rib coma, our packages include shuttle deals to and from the ferry with walk-on ferry passes too. Book a Rib Fest package with Blackball Ferry Line, including ribs, shuttle, and ferry from only $69 at cohoferry.com.
Caviar Jewelry is freshly restocked with sparkling merchandise and ready to meet your jewelry needs. We have customers coming from Port Townsend all the way out to La Push, and we're thrilled to be serving the entire Upper Peninsula for our 3rd year. As always, we keep most of our repairs in-house unless laser work is necessary. We offer appraisals, free inspections, and free cleaning. We're open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 till 6. We look forward to seeing you soon.
News, sports, and information for the North Olympic Peninsula. We're News Radio KONP, Port Angeles, Squim, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Lindsay Davis, anchor of Prime, streaming weeknights on ABC News Live. I'm in Chicago for day 3 of the Democratic National Convention. Former President Bill Clinton, former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg all expected to take to the stage tonight and endorse Kamala Harris. And 15 days after he was picked as Harris's running mate, Governor Tim Walz will get a chance to introduce himself to the American people. ABC's Karen Travers is here at the DNC with more on tonight's keynote address.
His speech at the DNC will focus on his background, growing up in Nebraska, working as a teacher and a football coach, serving in the National Guard. He'll talk about the values he learned from those experiences and would bring to the White House if elected.
The momentum for the Democratic ticket continues. The Harris-Walz campaign and the DNC together raised $248 million in July, outraising the Trump campaign and the RNC, which raised $78 million. Tonight's theme at the DNC is a fight for our freedoms. I'm Lindsay Davis in Chicago. Now with more news, here's Michelle Franzen.
Former President Trump campaigning in North Carolina today for the first outdoor rally since the assassination attempt in Pennsylvania last month. Trump accusing Democrats of being single-minded.
They mentioned my name, I think, 271 times. They mentioned the economy like
12 times. They mentioned the border, maybe none.
The former president is touring swing states to counter the DNC. ABC News has learned Robert F. Kennedy Jr. plans to end his run for his presidency later this week and is leaning toward endorsing Donald Trump. The White House says President Biden and Vice President Harris spoke to Israeli Prime Minister today about the ceasefire and hostage release deal and diplomatic efforts to de-escalate regional tensions. A new study finds 2/3 of some common baby foods do not meet standards for healthy baby food set by the World Health Organization. That study reinforces grains, fruit, and vegetables are healthier than processed and packaged foods. You're listening to ABC News.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality, certified pros at Angie.com.
Summer congestion got you down. Whether it's allergies or a summer cold, being congested can ruin your whole day. You feel tired and run down, like you're missing out on summer fun. At Navage, we're here to make breathing easy easier. Navage uses patented gentle suction technology to help clear out allergens, dust, and mucus without drugs. In just 30 seconds, you'll be on your way to a better day. Get Navage at Walmart, Walgreens, Sam's Club, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, or online at Navage.com. Navage. Breathe better, fast.
The war between Russia and Ukraine heating up, both sides now blaming the other for recent drone strikes.
The American embassy in Kyiv issued an alert warning of an increased risk of both nighttime and daytime drone and missile strikes from Russia over the next several days. U.S. officials say the threat is tied to Ukraine's upcoming Independence Day and not its so far successful offensive in Russia's Kursk region. Shannon Kingston, ABC News, the State Department.
ABC Shannon Kingston. The search is on for a woman caught on camera breaching a security buffer zone at a zoo in New Jersey.
Police in southern New Jersey are asking the public to help them identify a woman who violated a city ordinance by climbing a fence. That's prohibited in Bridgeton because the fence was in a zoo, and this one was outside of a tiger enclosure. Video shared by Bridgeton police shows the woman putting her hand through a wire fence and, as police said, enticing the tiger. Video also shows the tiger nearly biting the woman, who did not appear to be hurt. Brian Clark, ABC News.
The Italian Coast Guard says dive crews located 4 bodies from the super yacht that sank Monday off the Sicilian coast during a storm. Those bodies have not been identified and are being carried slowly to the surface. 6 went missing in all during a violent storm, including 2 Americans. And the Federal Reserve signaling in its latest minutes that an interest rate cut could be likely in September. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
KONP News brought to you by McCrory Carpet One. Always priced right, always done right. McCrory Carpet One. Clallam County may turn to a new drive-by service to assist with property assessments in parts of the county. The assessor's office proposing to hire a company named Cyclomedia to conduct street-level imagery and LiDAR surveys. The company uses vehicles similar to Google mapping cars to drive around areas and capture imagery of properties. The data collected would then be used by the assessor's office for annual property assessments. The technology would be deployed first in the cities of Port Angeles, Sequim, and Forks, where there's denser property levels. County officials still determining how to fund an initial contract for a test run that could happen as soon as later this summer.
Here's your Newsradio KONP forecast brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. Storms likely this afternoon, otherwise cloudy skies. High temperatures reach up to 63. Northwest winds around 5 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected again tonight. Thunderstorms likely. Lows level off around 52. Chance for showers tomorrow. High of 64. Cloudy skies. Temps a bit below average Friday and Saturday with highs in the low 60s. Showers both days. A peek at the extended shows, 63 Sunday, 64 Monday, and 64 on Tuesday. I'm weatherology meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently 63.
This is the Ramsey Show. Welcome aboard. It's where we help you win in your life, specifically winning with your money, winning with your relationships, winning in your work. I'm Kent Coleman. Rachel Cruz joins me. We're here for you. 888-825-5225 is the phone number. 888-825-5225. Coming up this hour, of course, your calls. You don't want to miss the end of the hour. We're going to talk about some very interesting policy proposals that affect your pocketbook. So we won't get political, but we are going to get economical. We're going to talk about the very, very controversial price control plan that's being bandied about by the Harris campaign. So more on that. We'll talk about how that affects you, plus your calls. You ready to go? You excited? I've done my homework. You're going to be very excited about the last part of the hour when I talk price controls.
So excited.
I know you're.
I do enjoy politics, but we're not going there. We're just going to talk about the facts.
No, we're going to talk about the economics
of what's going on. Yeah,
we're not going to be ugly.
And you'll be great too.
Well, we'll see. But I just want to know if you would be paying attention. We'll see. Heather's going to start us off in Atlanta, Georgia. Heather, how can we help you today?
Hi. I have a question related to mostly, I guess, where to start, because I know that I'm not ready for the baby steps yet. I have kind of overextended myself with the firm loans, and then I have a ton of, well, I wouldn't say a ton, but a good bit of credit card debt. And so what I'm finding now is that I'm like not even paycheck to paycheck. I'm doing a little bit of gig work on the side outside of my regular job, but it's really just to try to cover the bills where I would be in the negative.
Okay, so you're below water, if you will. So getting you above that in a stable place in order then to start the baby steps is kind of what you're saying, which, it makes total sense. Okay, so what kind of caused you to get in this situation?